Okay, all right. Obviously, coming off a big win, real proud of our team, the way they played. We played our most complete game probably since I've been here, so real proud of our guys. Now we got to flip the switch. We're going to Texas Tech, a team very similar to us as far as record-wise. They won their last two. They have momentum. They're fighting for a bowl berth just like we are. Their head coach, Joey McGuire, is a guy that I know well, got a lot of respect for, a legendary Texas high school coach. Does a great job coaching. You can watch on film. Their guys play extremely hard. They're a physical football team. They're very good on special teams. And then defensively, they don't give up a lot of big plays. They make you earn it. Offensively, they'll spread you out. They'll play fast. You've got to be good in space. They're running back. I mean, now we're playing the second running back as far as yards, in our conference. So back-to-back weeks, we got to stop the run again. But they do a good job of trying to get you in space also. So be a good test for us. Questions?
How does a winning streak now, winning two in a row, especially a win like this, how does that just change things around the building, showing that the players that their hard work is paying off?
Yeah, you see a lot more smiles, which is always great to see. And I'll say this, though, we practiced last night. Our guys had good positive energy, but even in those tough weeks, we'd go out there. Our guys would find a way to flip the script and go ahead and practice hard, and that was rare. So that's really not unusual, but you do see the smiles around the complex, and it's always good to see those players with that.
I guess R.J. Harvey obviously has put together a pretty solid performance in the last 5 weeks, 5 games. What stands out to you about how he's grown into that role of being a running back, and what makes him kind of so special that he's been able to do what he's been able to do?
Yeah, well, keep in mind, he was a quarterback in high school. He's a quarterback at Virginia. And the last 2 years been learning to play the running back position. I think things are starting to slow down for him. He's very patient. His lateral quickness. There's a couple plays where they did some stunts and they had some defensive linemen in the backfield, and he just went lateral. Ended up turning, a possible negative play for just a regular running back into a 12, 13-yard gain. I mean, he's got that ability, and then of course, when he breaks, he's got real speed too. So. Playing good without the ball too, so he's starting to establish himself as one of the better running backs in our league and probably in the country.
You mentioned throughout the year that you want to be a team that gets better as the year goes on, playing your best football toward the end of the season. Obviously, there was the lull in the middle, but what are you seeing that has helped this team?
Yeah, it took us a little bit, and I think too, real unfortunate about JRP getting hurt the second game of the year and everything that happened, and you can see as he's getting healthier, it really changes the dynamics, really, not just our offense but our whole team. And our whole team, they kept practicing through the tough times and got better in practice and each week, and the last 2 weeks we found a way to do that.
More talk now about the offensive line, particularly center. Each week you're doing a different combination. Can you take us behind the scenes a little bit about what went into the decision to go with the
Yeah. Bula battled. He's on 1 foot against Cincinnati's D-line, which is really good. And this D-line's really good too. And this, we really just wanted to put, 5 veteran guys out there. There's a couple of snaps that were a little bit low, a little high. JRP really handled it well, but, he's a veteran guy. He did a really good job. Caden Kittler still will be in the mix this week. He's starting to get closer to 100%. Remember, he got banged up. But that's the 4th center that we've had this year. And I don't know a time we ever got to the 3rd center, with the first group. So this is a very unique year. I think it does say a lot about the depth that we have. There hadn't been a whole lot of continuity about starts with all 5 guys in the same position, and that's really hard. And then we were able to run the football as effectively as we have. I think that says a lot about our depth. But there was some stress going into last week with Akai playing his first, center against a real team. But he handled it like a champ, and our quarterback handled it like a champ on the snaps that, weren't perfect.
when the rain came in, you must have been a little nervous about having a new center and
Yeah,
those
no,
conditions.
yeah, getting a dry ball in there too, like, we threw a couple balls up, that one in the red zone, man, we had it right there, and we didn't keep the balls dry. We gotta do a better job of that next time. But yeah, that did go through my mind, not just that, but the punter and our snapper and, all the things that went with that, because it was raining sideways there for a while.
Would you say that this past weekend's game was the best game you ever saw JRP play in?
It's right up there, if not, these deep balls, the thing about it, when you throw the football, it's more from the waist down than the arm. And like, his knee has still been recovering. And last week in practice, he threw the best deep balls that he's had since we've been here. And it carried over in the game. He was throwing dimes out there, the deep balls, and before guys would even make their cut and throw it up. And so it's really carried over. He's getting more healthier. And our protection was really poor on the one that came out. I'd like him just to take a sack, but he's trying to make a play, but the protection was so poor, it was really tough for him to even, comprehend exactly what was happening. Things happening quick, but, when he's making plays with his feet, it opens up everything else for our offense.
Darren mentioned cross-training some of the offensive linemen last night during fall camp. So what went into the process, especially when you see guys like Lukahi switch positions and Marcellus Marshall's started games at 3 different positions now. So what was kind of that work before the season started to get to this point?
Ideally, you want to keep guys in the same position, and they get used to working together and communicating together. This year, because of injuries, we've not been able to do that more than any other time really since I've been a college coach. But it kind of goes back to, we have 7 to 8 guys that we felt really good about going into the year. That's probably the most quality that we've had, and thank goodness we do have that. But I'm not gonna, lie to you, like the stress of having multiple guys, multiple, moving parts right there, that's a stressful deal. But our guys have handled it pretty well.
Gus, what do you know about Texas Tech's environment there in Lubbock, and also what has your team learned from prior road tests this season that can help you this time?
Yeah, it's hard to win on the road. I think you can look at our league. I've never been there other than driving through there, familiar with the old Southwest Conference and back in the day, when I was growing up, and they had a lot of tradition and all that. And I know it's windy. It's flat out there. Probably a little cold in November too, but it's a great environment, and we'll have to play really well to win.
What can you say about this run defense? Everyone knows that's been a struggle for most of the Big 12 season, and we knew who was coming in, Ollie Gordon, Oklahoma State, and just to completely shut them down for the most part. Just talk about the effort you saw from your guys. Yeah,
I'm real proud of our guys and our run fits right there. We talked about our defensive line playing in the other team's backfield, being a little more aggressive and not doing as much reading, but be a little more aggressive. And that's really what started out in the first quarter. That helped our fits, it helped our linebackers. Our defensive line did a better job of keeping off the linebackers, and then when they did single block, they came off and made plays. And then our safeties, they fit. One of our safeties caused a fumble. Another one, made a really good tackle right there, in the hole. So, it's just kind of growing as a defense, and played our best game against probably the hottest offense in college football last week. We got to continue that and carry that over this week, because we got another real running back that we got our hands full with too.
Gus, I imagine during a losing streak, people can start to hang their heads, but what does it do for morale to beat a top 15 team at home, and how can you carry that momentum moving forward? Yeah,
it's a big shot in the arm. There's no doubt. It was a good quality win for us the week before on the road. That got us that good feeling back, and then obviously to be in front of your home fans, the space game and everything that goes with that, a top 15 team in the country, the hottest team in the country coming in, and for us not only to win, but to win convincingly, that really helps everything. And, our guys, that they played their best game, and this is the time of year that you need to keep continuing to improve and play your best football. A lot of programs can lose momentum this time of year, but our guys, it's a credit to them, it's a credit to our coaches that they kept battling, and played their best game at home in front of the home crowd.
What was your reaction to seeing the fans storm the field after the game?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, it was really cool. I know for our players, they really thought it was really neat. And anytime that means you won a really big game when that happens. And our fans, we've had some tough goes. We hadn't given them a lot to cheer about, at home, and so that was really good just from a personal experience to see them be able to experience some positive things too.
Guess on the injury front, you mentioned Bula, obviously he was in the boot before the game. Is he available this week, and do you have any plans maybe to continue to maybe push Lakai at the center position?
Yeah, we'll see how this week goes. Bula, I'm not for sure if he's going to be back or not. He didn't practice last night, so we'll see. We'll see how the week goes. I can give you an update, later on.
I'm sorry, Ricky Barber. I was gonna ask you.
Yeah, Ricky Barber, hopeful. He wasn't able to play last week. We're hopeful, but I was so proud of our guys that did play, last week, and we'll see, his status later in the week too.
What has Lee Hunter meant to the defensive line this year? I know you talked about what a big improvement he made during the offseason. Obviously, he's coming off a really big game.
Yeah, the thing about Lee is, he's played a lot of snaps this year, and he hadn't been 100% at times, but he has battled through. He really controlled the line of scrimmage last week, and anytime he's single block, that's really hard. He comes off and makes plays, and he's really turned himself into one of our leaders. Not just a leader in defense, but he's starting to turn into a team leader. And he's the type of guy, when he talks, everyone listens. And he's earned that, and I really think the sky's the limit for Big Lee.
You talked about the momentum that comes with this win Saturday, 2-game winning streak, but how do you and coaches make sure there's not a letdown that comes after a big win?
Yeah, I mean, we're fighting for a chance for a bowl. We're playing a team that's just like us. I mean, that's great. It's in the past. We'll think about in the off season, but we got our hands full. This is a really big game coming up. There won't be any kind of letdown as far as mental, especially with everything we went through, this season.
What's your connection with Joey McGuire? I know he came up through high schools in Texas. How do you know him?
Yeah, so Joey, when I first got in college, I guess it was Tulsa, I started recruiting at school. We got some of his players, and Todd Graham, my old head coach, was a Texas high school coach, Allen. He's really close to him. And my stepmom was a science teacher at Joey's school too, 8th grade. And I recruited his quarterback, was Arkansas State before I went to Auburn, so I know him well, and I've always been a big fan of his. And the old high school coaches that are in college, we kind of stick together, and he's a real football coach. I mean, he won, he's in the Hall of Fame, at Texas. And my goal when I was in Arkansas, my goal was to be a head coach in Texas. I mean, that was, if I'd ever been able to do that, I'd have thought I'd made it back in the day. And so I always had a lot of respect for him. I think he won 3 state championships in Texas. Man, they got to win like 16 games to win a state championship in high school, which is really, really hard to do. So I've always been a fan of Joey's.
You mentioned that the defense was, picked up for the challenge of playing the #1 running back in the country.
Yeah.
Does it help in a sense to then immediately get the #5 running back in the country right after that, as far as that?
I don't know. We got our, he's a real back. I mean, what they give it to him 30-some times? I mean, he's a really good back. It's another big challenge for our defense. It's week to week in college football. You go to the next week and you have a new challenge for it. But, that'll be a big key, trying to control him.
Texas State, the other side of the ball on defense. I know they held Kansas. I know Kansas was down their 3rd string QB.
Yeah.
But what did they do defensively, Texas Tech?
Tell you what, they attacked them is what they did, and we had a tough go at Kansas. They boat raced us now, and so we know how hard that is, and it doesn't matter if they're on their 4th string quarterback. I mean, Kansas has a great offensive scheme. They got a great running back too. They got a good offensive line. For them to hold them to that many points, that gets your attention, and then for them to get that win at that place. Kansas also is one of the hottest teams, in our league and probably in the country, and they went there and won. So that'll definitely get your attention.
Guys, I want to go back to RJ Harvey. Personality-wise, he's kind of a soft-spoken guy. What kind of have you seen him maybe kind of grow in that personality-wise and leadership role as well?
Yeah, he'll actually have a conversation. Usually it's just old smile back and hey, come on, man. And he's starting also to kind of come out of his shell. And he's also one of those guys. When he speaks, everybody listens. A lot of respect for him, but he is a super young man with a super heart, and he's starting to gain confidence. And been real proud of him.
There's kind of been a controversy the last few weeks about sign stealing in college football. There's talk of, maybe this is going to spur changes to have, headset or helmet communication with quarterbacks, maybe wristbands. And what's your stance on that? Would that make your job a lot easier, not having to worry about changing things up week to week and other teams?
I'd be okay with headsets. The sign stealing, that's been going on forever as far as looking over and trying to figure out what their signals are. And you look on TV and everybody does it and they try to gain an advantage, That's been since 2006, but when you're videoing, that's a different story now. That's a completely different deal, So I think that's where it's got to be separated. I'm a no huddle guy. And, when I first got college football credit, I'm going to look over the sidelines. If I can tell that's cover 3, guess what? I'm going to call a cover 3 play. That's coaching. That's football. And really that's, back in the day when we were one of the only no huddle, if not the first or whatever, man, that was stealing. Like, it was easy. And then everybody started going no huddle. Then, we played, Chip Kelly in the national championship game. We had our numbers and board. He had all those fancy signs and all that. And so that's when everything kind of accelerated after that. But that still goes on in college football. That's part of the game now, whether coaches like it or not. Videoing, that's a different story.
As much talk as there's been about the defense stopping the run, it was also the turnovers. You won the turnover battle. Just talk about the opportunistic moments for the defense.
4 turnovers. They were all down there on our side of the field. That was huge. Our guys, man, we had a couple of tip balls. Our corners broke on balls. The ball went up in the air. We caused the one fumble. I thought that was really good. We'd like that one back that we turned the ball over. Here's a great thing. I think we were on our 25 or 30 when we fumbled. The defense got it right back. We've been talking about our team about, man, let's pick each other up. If one side needs some help, pick each other up, make sure that we're more of a team, and our guys have done that the last couple of weeks. Okay? Thank you, guys.